Rivalries reignited.
Historic heavyweights.
The spiciest of derbies.
New kids on the block.
The best leagues in the land are back.
Tom Hitchcock crashes. Tom Hitchcock goes. Tom Hitchcock scores. Leaving it all out there for the fans.
A steamroller has just charged through.
Dynasty, destiny, drama.
Your Women's National League Cup champions.
Future stars set to shine.
Bill Rigg, who's been on fire all season.
Champagne Rugby? Look no further.
To score one of the most memorable tries.
Durham University are BUCS Super Rugby League champions.
But the truth is, in this league, it's anyone's on the day.
And it's full time. It is 6 wins from 6 for Swansea.
Entertainment guaranteed.
BUCS Super Rugby.
Women's National League.
BUCS Rugby is back.
And welcome to the capital, to Cardiff, to Kincoid campus, the home of Cardiff Met Rugby, as they look to embark on their opening game at home of the Super BUCS Rugby season. I'm joined here by the wonderful voice of BUCS Super Rugby, Dave Rogers. Dave, why is this tournament so special?
You're very kind, mate. Nice to see you. It's special because you end up places like here, Kincoid campus. It's this mythical beast where people come from all around the country. They say it's a horrible place to come, but for the archers and the ultras and the faithful, they wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. It's this tournament that's gathering pace. It's the future of the game. The standard's incredible. It's midweek rugby and everybody loves it, and that's why it's so special.
So obviously, along with you, coming to Kincoid is the champions. It's Exeter. What have you thought of their opening to the season?
Depends what prism you look at it through. So before the BUCS Super Rugby season started, they got promoted from National 3 last year into National 2. Won their first 4 games, including whooping Loughborough in Loughborough. So I thought, oh, here we go. They're going to be unstoppable in BUCS Super Rugby. The BSR season starts the same time as the Prem Cup starts. Exeter is such a massive club. They've got links with Exeter Chiefs, so they're missing 9 players going into that opening game. All of a sudden, they lose that. They lose the following week up in Loughborough, and you're thinking, goodness me, the champions, they've lost 2 from 2. So if you look at the table, the start of the season has been horrendous. But I think tonight is the night, not just here, but around the league, where we really find out a lot about these teams.
And around the league, has there been any other results tonight that have shocked you?
I don't know about shocked, but there's certainly been one result, and that is Swansea 44, Leeds Beckett 8. Swansea, probably another team who've been a little bit below par in their opening couple of games. Of course, Cardiff Met beat them in the opener, and then they went down to Nottingham, who were a bit of a surprise, I think, 2 wins from 2. But down at St Helens, it's a difficult place to go. They love playing there. Leeds Beckett now, 3 games, 3 defeats. Not even looked like winning a game. It's early in the season and lots can change, but they've got to be asking questions, so that's absolutely massive. Other results, or certainly other games I'm looking forward to. Nottingham 2 from 2, they're playing Loughborough today. Loughborough were unlucky against Durham in the first week, then they beat this Exeter team at home in the second. I think this is the real acid test for Nottingham to find out exactly where they are, and then Durham v Cardiff's massive. 2 undefeated teams that I can't wait for.
Certainly, and I mean, I know all the viewers at home are definitely waiting to see those highlights of the Cardiff clash, and they will be up shortly. But first, we have Claire Thomas talking to the masterminds behind these rugby clubs, and it's the coaches.
You've got the hearts on fire part of the role. How do you manage the heads on ice?
Yeah, you say that, and the Cardiff clashes are fantastic. But that's what's great about BUCS Super Rugby is every week you're playing against teams steeped with history, guys who are going on to play professional rugby, guys who are going to go on to have a future in the game, and each week's tough. So, you know, we got the Cardiff clash second week up, but the first game we got Swansea away, and I know how big that's going to be. Then the third week we got Exeter home, and you know we know what a big game that is. So that's one of the great things. One of the challenges for us as coaching groups is every week you're looking at that fixture list looking for an easy game, and they never turn up.
And just finally, what is going up on the whiteboard in the dressing room as the overarching goal for this season, whether that is performance-based or whether that is league table standings, however you want to take that, what do you want to do this year?
Well, first of all, I want them to come out with good degrees. As cheesy as it sounds, that's got to be fundamental to all of this. Yes, it's great to have these guys going to professional rugby, but it's just as important that maybe those 3 or 4 who are doing that, what's happening to the other 20 guys in the team, and making sure that they're all progressing. And we want them to be good people, better players, but ultimately we want to win, and so we want to win games. So that top 4, that home quarter-final, those home semi-finals are what all the clubs are aspiring for, and then the cherry on top at the end of it.
You know, we're all very competitive people, and we don't play this to come second. You know, we've got a bit of a target on our back now because of last season, so you know, we'll just go for it and work as hard as we can.
I want to talk about heart, because your squad exhibit that in a way that not many other teams can claim to be able to do. Last gasp victories, especially in that national championship final. Is that coachable? Is that something you instill in them, or do you think you're lucky that you just have players come through who will never give up?
Yeah, we don't believe in luck, but what I do say to the boys is the harder you work, the luckier you'll get. So the heart comes from them, but we're very much one club. I think you know, our goals are very much that we have got to go forward and be major contenders again.
So Claire Thomas there with the interviews, and now the Exeter coach has something very interesting to say with the fact that Exeter now have a bullseye on their backs. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you are the champions, if you're a good team, if you're any team at any level who's had success, then people want to beat you. Doesn't matter if it's home, doesn't matter if it's away. Exeter are going to be the yardstick, aren't they? But Cardiff Met are too. Anytime you host a team at a place like King Coy, then people are going to want to come and win. Both of these teams have got their supporters groups as well. You've got the EURFC Flair and you've got the Cardiff Met Ultras, so they'll have been stoking the fire online all week. And it just shows that every week there are massive occasions, and if Cardiff Met can beat Exeter here at King Coy for the 3rd time in a row in BUCS Super Rugby, leapfrogging the champions, they're going to feel 10 feet tall. It's going to be unbelievable.
So do you think for both these teams who had unbelievable seasons, Met best performing team in Wales and Exeter obviously the champions, do you think that added pressure has affected them this season?
I wonder. I do think we need to take into consideration, particularly with Exeter, the number of players who were, well, depending on how you look at it, lost to the Premiership Cup. Playing for Exeter Chiefs, huge honour, but settled teams succeed in BUCS Super Rugby. I think Cardiff Met will have been really disappointed with the result in the Cardiff clash. Look, if you beat Swansea and you beat Cardiff in your opening 2 weeks, then you're in the top 2 or 3 in the league, and we're having a very different conversation. You know, they only lost by 1 point, but you lose to 1 point to your local rivals, may as well be 100.
Yeah, and obviously these teams have history. What do you remember about their semi-final encounter last year?
Oh my goodness, I remember being up in Durham for the other semi-final where it was Durham against Loughborough. Joe Burns was down in Exeter. He had shirt sleeves on. They were putting the Factor 50 on. It was snowing in Durham, that's what I remember. But watching the game, Durham flew out of the blocks after they'd come here and really had their tummies tickled by Cardiff Met. They scrummaged them off the park here at King Coy. But Exeter race out to a lead. Cardiff Met pegged them back, and then Exeter get over the line. 44-33, I think it was in the end. Unbelievable win for Exeter, but in the 2 league games and the semi-final last year, it was 85-83 on the aggregate score. Just 2 points over, 240 minutes of rugby. 2 evenly matched teams, 2 unbelievably proud teams. This is a great rivalry.
I mean, talking about proud teams, we had 2 last week at Cardiff Arms Park for the Battle of the Capital. 4,000 fans showed up and created a buzzing atmosphere. Here's the highlights.
They switched the play to the blind side. A great offload off the floor.
That's a great tackle.
That's a fantastic... Oh, and they've stolen the ball on the far side of the pitch.
Look at this, he's gone.
He's pacing away. No one's going to catch him now. It's going to be the first try of the game for Cardiff Met. If he can keep it going. He's got it down in the corner.
What a try.
And Jake Bond has picked from the base of this scrum. It's straight to Bingo, even he's switched in space. Is he going to step the fullback? He has, but he's been able to trip him ever so slightly. The support is coming in from Cardiff Met, though, as he's still not stopped. Bingo, even he's just driving his legs forward.
It's on that wide.
You're right, they've got men over. Roderick Evans has looked for the chip forward. I believe that's Jake Thomas running forward onto the ball. He's hacked it forward. He's touchdown for the try. A fantastic piece of play. A fantastic piece of play from Cardiff Met. The ball is claimed cleanly by Cardiff University as they look to set up a driving wall forwards. And what will Cardiff Met answer it with? It's moving closer and closer to that try line. It's going to be a 15-man maul. As you say, Ethan, more and more players from Cardiff Uni joining in with that effort. But it's met well with Cardiff Met, but it's eking further forwards and the ball is down. It's a try to Cardiff University. Good hands there from the open side flanker. And another good turn of run there from Ethan Phillips in the middle of the park for Uni. They've made it to this wide channel. Cardiff Uni looking even more threatening here. Are they going to go over in the corner? No, they're pushed back by the Cardiff Met defence, but Cardiff Uni still looking dangerous, inches away from the try line. They've gone to the blind side and they've scored.
They've scored, wow.
We are set for a phenomenal end to this second half, Ethan.
I was just about to say, this is absolutely thrilling. From a fan's point of view, they will be on the edge of their seats.
Claimed easily there by Cardiff University from the kickoff. They've not made many changes in that front row, Ethan, and we've highlighted them already as the tired bodies on the pitch. As the kick is charged down by one of the replacements, it's Gallivani Stacey who takes it to the corner for another try. And the immediate response there from Cardiff Metropolitan.
Wow. Do you think they can stop them?
I honestly think Cardiff Met can do it. They've done it before earlier on in this game. Can certainly try and disrupt this line out, and they do go into the air to try and disrupt it. And Cardiff Uni are quick to try and get the drive going forwards. They've got multiple people coming in, including Dunford himself, coming in from the back line to try and move that ball further forwards. It's motoring close to that try line.
Wow.
And they've made it over for what could potentially be one of the final tries in this game. Cardiff University take the win here at Cardiff Arms Park, in the first Cardiff clash of the season. Full-time whistle here is blown in the Cardiff City Centre. It's Cardiff Metropolitan 24, Cardiff University.
And everyone is ready for a huge game, a huge clash, as Cardiff Met look to be getting revenge for last year's upset in the semi-final, and that will be the one thing on their minds. Definitely on their minds, and soon enough we're going to see if Cardiff Met are able to end all that hurt, get rid of it and get their own back. It was such a brilliant contest here last year, such high scoring games in all three fixtures, and this really is the start of Met's season. And now we're going to head up to Dave Rogers and James Roberts for commentary.
Oh, thank you very much, Cian. There is a hustle and bustle, a bubble of energy that only King Coyd really delivers on a Wednesday night. It's dusky, it's drizzly, it's cold, it's damp. The replacements in the high vis are on their way through. The Archers have formed a tunnel in their crisp and clean chinos. The ones are on. The light blue shirts, it can only mean match night. Why they don't bring a coat, I've got absolutely no idea, but I'm sure they'll have a beer jacket on to keep them warm. It's another great turnout because they love Cardiff Met on a Wednesday, and they have come to see the champions this evening. Both teams, I said before, it's a little bit early to be talking about must-win fixtures. However, if they don't get a win this evening, then there is trouble because they'll be bottom of the league, quite simply. James, you are invested a little bit deeper in this than most people I get to co-commentate with. What's the general buzz around the place? In fact, we're going to have a chat about that in a second, because before that we need to take a look at the teams. Cardiff Met, 1 win, 1 defeat so far. Joel Cowell skippers the team on the loose head side. Alongside him, Tyler Olding and Elliot Salt make up the front row. It's a settled and familiar engine room with Barney Langton and former Exeter chief Barnaby Waddell, and a balanced but physical back row with Jack Wickham on the blindside flank, Scotland under-20s Ewan Guy on the open, and then Jake Bond packing down at number 8. Ali Stacey recovered from the broken thumb that kept him out of most of last season. And at number 10, it's a first start for Ethan Morgan this season. Roma Zheng is the talk of the town, but Bingo Ivanisevic at 12 has been in unbelievable form. And Joe Westwood, the Wales under-20, is alongside him. Jake Thomas on the right wing has crossed the city line, having played for Cardiff Uni. And Oliver Gibson gets the nod at 15, settled and injury-free. There's international experience on the bench as well. Wales under-20s Connor Chapman, USA under-23 Eagle Brandon Harvey, and Brad the Boot with 22 if the points dry up for Cardiff Met. For Exeter, it's Archie Rolls who gets his first start on the tight head side. Otherwise, it's an experienced pack. They have been starved of their chiefs, Exeter. Milo Hallam and Ollie Leatherbarrow featured heavily in the championship winning season. Watch out for Ross Vincent today. He's the Italy under-20s captain. Very exciting addition on the open side flank. William Beckinsale starts at 9. He played outside half for the Chiefs in the Prem Cup, but his half-back partner Josh Barton has had a new lease of life at 10. A wonderfully exciting outside half. Few injuries in the captain's run have led to the deck being shuffled. Max Cortis called in at 13. Dan John moving back to fullback. Kofi Barton-Byfield's a try machine as well. 20 tries in the National 3 winning season. The teams are up, the players are out. Exeter University in one of the roguest kits in BUCS Super Rugby, all in orange, kicking us off here at King Coyd. Cardiff Met receive hands on that immediately from Kofi Barton-Byfield, and he is going to get a first touch, rescuing the kickoff that he intercepted. And a first touch for the visitors in orange, going in search of their first win of the season. Milo Hallam. William Beckinsale then out. There's a first touch for Max Cortis. He'll be pleased to get his hands on the ball. Wasn't expecting to start this week. William de Bomber, hard direct ball carrier, wearing number 6. Oh, the ball out the back, a little bit behind Kofi Barton-Byfield, but he looks energetic and he wriggles through a tackle. Jack Wickham being dragged along for the ride, and Exeter around the 22, but Met think they've sniffed a turnover. Electrifying start. Space. Up the short side, lovely feet from Ollie Gibson. Ali Stacey, tell you what, test your lungs, boys. There's lots going on here. Bingo, put some width on it. Link play from Ewan Guy. Now Roma Zheng, one of the many blonde bombshells on this Archers team. I'm going to pick your brains about this in a bit, James, because I'm not a massive fan. I've got to admit, but then again, I am getting old. Just a minute gone. Already both teams with their hands on the ball. That's Jack Wickham. Ivanisevic in it. First receiver. Tips that on to Elliot Salt. But Cardiff go off their feet. Exeter win the penalty. Breathless start. Anyway, James, great to see you. How are you, mate?
Nice to see you too, Dave. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me up here this evening. Yeah, it's been very just heavy to start off with, hasn't it? There's been no respite for either team, because even when Cardiff Met look to turn over the ball there, normally in the 22 you want to kick your ball away and try and get further up that pitch, but Captain Joe Cowell saw a little bit of space on the inside there for Gibbon to go down the blind on a good run to get them further up the pitch, and they've had a bit of an unorthodox start, you might say, by Sun standards as well.
Yeah, we'll take an orthodox. Part of the fun. So here's Burrows. Vastly improved darts from the Bath game last year. And then Archie Rolls. First start for him. Came off the bench last week. Oh, and Cardiff win the penalty. Let's talk about the general mood then, because results haven't been favourable. I know it was only a 1-point defeat, but any defeat in any derby is a tough one. Cardiff Met not used to losing. You've been close to the camp. What's the general vibe been?
Obviously, it was a very unhappy place to be initially after that loss down at Cardiff Arms Park. The team definitely wanted to come away with a win, so it means now that their 100% win record at Cardiff Arms Park is gone, which is gutting as an Archers fan, but also as an Archers player to look back on that. But they are ready for this evening. They are hyped up. Joe Cowell, especially the skipper from last week, and bringing his Cardiff rugby experience into this, will be wanting to spur his team on and get them back to winning ways, really.
First look at the Cardiff Met line-out, drilled in low and off the top. Here's Ali Stacey. That was Thomas in off his wing, but a forward pass. And after 2 looks at the line-out, we take our first look at the set piece. Now, this is where it gets exciting. So we've got Cowell, Olding and Salt in the front row for Met. Harris, Burrows and Rolls in the front row. Archie Rolls, big unit, good scrummager, but Archie Owlett injured his ribs against Loughborough, so that's why Rolls comes in, and he's going up against Joe Cowell, perhaps one of the most fearsome scrummagers in BUCS Super Rugby. So don't blink.
No, don't blink indeed. But I think Ollie Burrows, with his Wales under-20s experience, he'll know Cowell well. He'll be having a word with his tight head Archie Rolls and definitely trying to make sure that he's giving him all of the inside scoop to beat Cowell at that scrum.
Love Beckinsale as well. It's very French to be a crossover scrum half, outside half. Oh, look at this. More on that later, because Cardiff Met turn the scrum over, but then it breaks free and Ollie Leatherbarrow, one of the famed BSR brothers, gets his carry up over halfway. Chester Ribbons wriggles the arms free. The greasy ball getting the better of both of the teams so far. Ali Stacey puts that to Jake Bond. That goes forward. And we'll have another look at the scrum. And of course, Jake Bond ties his laces, because that's definitely the reason he dropped the ball.
Well, as you say, you've mentioned it just there. Greasy conditions out there. Jake Bond is a phenomenal ball carrier for Cardiff Met when he's given the right room and the space to run into the carrier, actually. So he'll be keen to get onto the ball as much as possible today. I'm not sure he's going to let that one go to his head anytime soon. He'll definitely be keen to get back on that ball and running straight at that extra defensive line.
Jake Bond played a lot of WRU Championship rugby in the Archers colours. Of course, that's one of the things that's particularly special about these two teams is the Saturday programme as well. Cardiff Met playing in the Champ and Exeter playing in National 2. Again, they've picked up a couple of defeats now, but 4 from 4 in their opening 4 games in that division is no mean feat. Penalty advantage turned into a penalty, and the scrum very much going the way of the hosts.
Tyler Orling seeming to have a conversation there with the Exeter front row as they walk away from that one. That's a big win for the Archer pack, if you ask me, Dave.
In front of those Ultras fans as well. That is a hateful place for a visiting player to go. And Ethan Morgan, the left peg, taking them up to the 22. And this is where it could get interesting. Oh, the drum's out as well. Here we go. So Olding finds his man, Barney Langton. Here's the tall figure. That's Roma Zheng off the wing. Gets rid of Burrows. Great upper body strength from Zheng. Now up the short side. Better carry this time, but good tackling from Exeter. Wickham tips it on. Oh. And then Olding into the coalface. First venture into the 22 here for Cardiff Met. Sending the big men forward, and the ball squirts forward. And nights like this, I mean, looking at the pictures, the conditions, relatively warm given how cold it has been the last few evenings. That bit of extra cloud cover. However, fair bit of rain falling for the last few hours. Not going to be easy for handling in those close situations, James.
No, absolutely not. You're certainly going to try and want to keep it simple out on that pitch. You're not going to want to try and throw any long looping passes anytime soon. That ball's going to be very greasy for the duration of the match. Potentially, you might want to look at just one-off runners off of your 9, off of your 10. But again, you could surprise the opposition with a lovely backs manoeuvre just to spice it up a little bit out there, Dave.
Absolutely. Well, the way the scrum's going, it's an Exeter put-in, but this not the end of the world for Cardiff Met at the moment.
No, they've already had one turnover at scrum time, and it was a great shove from the Cardiff Met pack. I love seeing a scrum motor forward up the pitch, Dave. I know it sounds very weird out loud, but I do. There's just something about it.
It's because you're a number 8 and you're in the armchair normally. Oh, another big scrum from Cardiff, but it's out quickly. And Exeter looking to run it. Is that forward? No, says the referee. So Benji Josseland out there. Put some good footwork on and make some good meters. Cardiff Met working hard to be onside there. Joe Cowell making the tackle. Slow ball. Now Beckinsale. Shape into box. And that high above the floodlights. That's a tough one to take. And Gibbon fumbles that one. Referee happy enough it's gone backwards though.
That's one for each side, isn't it, Dave? That he's
Yeah.
let go, so I'm happy with that.
Well, the floodlight's plenty bright enough here at Kincoid campus. However, with a high ball like that, the ball goes above the lights and comes back down. So it is a nightmare to try and take if they get enough height on those box kicks and up and unders. But Met can come again. Oh, some lovely feet from Jake Bond, but that's a big shot. And a penalty to Exeter, holding on from Jake Bond.
That's unlucky that. I was very excited to see Jake Bond finally on the ball with some space to run into, with that Exeter defence slightly split actually here on this near side. But alas, he had a big shunt come in from the Exeter defence. He didn't have anyone quick enough to support him, and they've turned the ball over.
Well, it's a bit Binny Vulapola, isn't it? Getting the number 8 in the backfield, ready to rev the engine and charge. And of course they lap it up as well, don't they, these back rowers? Give me 20 yards to go into, but great work at the breakdown from Exeter. And this, a brilliant opportunity for them. Ollie Burrows, Exeter Chiefs affiliated, Wales 20s. Picks out Leather Barrow at the front. And the drive begins. Plenty of wriggling going on, but not a huge amount of movement, so Burrows breaks away. Met set up in defence, and William de Bomber tries to go straight through Jake Thomas. Great meters made by de Bomber. Now, Cortis in the shadow of the sticks here for Exeter. Oh, knocked on by Barton, thinking about fizzing it wide. There was a penalty advantage, so we'll go back for that, but that is a real opportunity for Exeter.
They will rue that missed opportunity, Dave. Absolutely rue it. Oh.
Well, they've gone quickly, and this is vintage Exeter. They show such great discipline in these parts of the pitch. Leather Barrow in the cap, sniffing round. Cardiff Met having a tackle for their lives. Ref having a good look. And another infringement. 2 chances butchered in 30 seconds, and the score remains 0-0.
I mean, Cardiff Met have done very well in defence there to force that error from Exeter. Just, you can't wriggle yourself along the ground as much as you think you can to get that ball down. It's got to be one swift, clean movement. And now Cardiff Met had a chance to clear their lines, and they can breathe a slight sigh of relief, Dave, and hopefully go for a big attack of their own.
Well, that is one visit to the 22 each. Neither team has come away with points, but they were 2 huge opportunities. And Exeter, over the years, much like the Exeter Chiefs, have prided themselves in their discipline in those close quarters, just going through phase after phase after phase, and eventually grinding teams down. But not this time. 11 minutes gone. Cardiff Met 0, Exeter 0. There was a 6 o'clock kickoff. Cardiff against Durham, 2 undefeated teams. If we get a breather, I might check socials to see what the scores are there.
Don't worry, I got your cue, don't worry.
Hartbury and Bath kicking off at 6:30 as well. And the East Midlands derby, Loughborough versus Nottingham. Real proper test for the undefeated Nottingham. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff on Epinal Way. Lovely bit of footwork to step inside. Barton. Out to Joseland. Gibbon brings him down. Big men go forward again. William de Bomber. Barton loves to take it to the line. Cortis rolls through Tyler Olding. Oh, there's some width here, and that's a nice pickup from Leatherbarrow as well. Oh, it's gone forward off Dan John. So Dan John playing full-back today. He played full-back in the BUCS Super Rugby final as well. Really talented, rounded footballer. Was due to start at 13 today. That's where the Exeter Chiefs see him. But a couple of injuries. They knew he was a safe pair of hands, so finds himself at 15. But certainly one to watch. He's one of those players who's been involved in the Premiership Cup. And that's happening more and more in BUCS Super Rugby. Of course, frustrating for the university coaches who want to put their best teams out, but in terms of opportunities for these players to wear the jerseys of established clubs, an incredible opportunity.
It's fantastic overall for the league and its promotion, isn't it? The amount of players that have come through BUCS Super Rugby now to land professional contracts and also gain a degree in a subject that they hopefully love and be set ready for the wider world.
I'm going to take a look at obscure degrees. Actually, the one I always hold on to is Cy Linsell, former captain of Exeter, who got his degree in Arabic. So if there are any more obscure ones than a 6'6", blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy who's fluent in Arabic, then let me know. Another scrum penalty here for Cardiff Met. Ivanisevic. Oh, bumps off William Beckinsale and gets up over halfway. That's the bit of magic that man has. Little nudge in behind. Cardiff Met kicked the ball away, and we're going to go for the line out, not the scrum. But bingo Ivanisevic in the midfield. That's the danger he can offer.
He's a fantastic ball carrier. He certainly knows how to find the space, how to use his footwork to get through the holes in defence. He's dangerous. Exeter have got to close him down. They can't give him that much room or that much time to think. Otherwise, he's going to be making breaks all night long.
Burrows overthrows big actually. But it wasn't straight. And if you weren't sure if it wasn't straight, that bunch of boys in blue will tell you.
Absolutely. I mean, interestingly, Cowles opted for a scrum off of that. So he obviously sees that as their most threatening attack.
3 scrum penalties so far. And it's closer to that group of supporters as well, isn't it? A lot of those boys will have played today. Must be cold though. Not a jacket between them.
Speaking from personal experience, Dave, once you're in that crowd, and you're jumping around and you're cheering all the songs, you don't really notice how cold it is outside in this Welsh wind.
Are they like penguins on the North Pole? They'll just move around for warmth.
I certainly think we'd make a pretty good documentary if they did want to research that with Attenborough.
Scrum time for Cardiff. Nobody stood on the blind side. Roma Zheng directly behind the scrum as an inside option for Ethan Morgan. First start of the season for him. Squad rotation. Good options for Milton's men. Now Stacey takes it to the line. He's shut down by Chester Ribbons. Probably slower ball than Cardiff Met would have liked. But more good position on the edge of the 22. Jack Wickham. So Morgan tips it on. Again, it's a little bit scrappy from Met. Not executing too well. Good feet from Morgan, but Cardiff Met back in their own half. It's been attritional so far. Both teams a little bit sloppy when they've got field position. Ivanisevic takes it flat. Oh, he's met by Ross Vincent, the Italian under-20s captain, who gets cleaned out. That is a big shoulder. And now Morgan puts a big left boot through it. The Ultras find their noise, but it's well dealt with. Big shot on Dan John. But he's all action when he's taking the ball to the line. Looks like he makes a heavy contact himself.
He's a very strong, confident ball carrier that's been highlighted by the Exeter team, and they'll certainly want to keep him coming round that corner and getting on those hard balls.
Beckinsale, not in a rush. Couple of archers drop back. Here comes the chase. Oh, big work by Benji Josseland, but it opens up for Gibbon to get those dancing feet. Penalty advantage, actually. Tell you what, Josseland. It was a great chase, but the referee not happy with what came after.
Ollie Burrows trying to have a jip there at the Cardiff Met team, trying to get a reaction out of them early on in this game. It's mind games, isn't it, at the end of the day, rugby, as much as what happens out on that pitch.
This is a fabulous chase. But another penalty. Takes Cardiff Met up to halfway. Still 0-0. Warm welcome to you wherever you're joining us around the world. And I say around the world because we do have a global audience here at BUCS Super Rugby. So whether you're a supporter of Met or Exeter, or you've tuned in to see what all the fuss is about, we're delighted to have you on board. That's Waddell, takes that off the top. Ivanisevic, dancing feet, gets rid of Josh Barton, but then Ollie Leatherbarrow steps in and takes him to ground. Wickham, so he's keen to get his hands on the ball, but he's been trapped behind the gain line a couple of times in the opening quarter. Oh, bingo. Floats one over the top. But Cardiff Met run themselves down an avenue, and it'll be Exeter ball. It's been attritional, hasn't it?
It's not exactly been the start that either team would have wanted. You know, we're nearly 20 minutes into a match, halfway through the first half, and no team has actually scored. No team's made an impact in this first half, and both teams, as you say, have been in the red zone and looked to get on the board, but just silly little errors have stunted that.
Well, Chester Ribbons tries to put De Bomber through. He gets over the gain line. Now Cortis. This is out the back. Better from Exeter. Josseland off his wing. Couldn't find the killer pass to Kofi Barton-Byfield. More like it, though, from Exeter. Burrows. Dummies to Leatherbarrow. Again, much quicker ruck speed here. Beckinsale. Cortis. Out of the back with Cardiff Met. Ali Stacey fizzing around. So, and then holding on. I wonder if Exeter might go for the sticks here. Josh Barton. Yeah, he's placed the ball on the deck. It's looking like one of those days.
It is definitely. I mean, it's one of those days where points on the board are points on the board. Doesn't matter if they're 3, 5, 7. As long as you get yourself on that scoreboard and you start that clock ticking over in your favour, that's how you run away with these games.
Quarter of the way through. This is the first opportunity at points. Josh Barton back kicking with Tony Yap, and he's made massive improvements. That was one of the things that last season was an obvious way that he could have improved his game, because his running game, especially in the dry conditions, can be sensational. But he's got a chance here. Bang in front of the posts, just outside the 10, with an Ultras chorus for company. Will he let it phase him? It's got the legs. It's got the line. And Exeter lead Cardiff Met 3-0 halfway through the first half.
Exeter will take that. They'll be happy that they finally got onto the scoreboard. They're the first ones to score in this game. As the away team, you obviously want to try and get scoring as quickly as possible to announce yourselves, really, because you'll never really be the favoured side in BUCS Super Rugby.
So Morgan restarts, trusty left boot, decent chase and a good collision. Three deep for Cardiff Met. All loitering around the halfway line, so expecting depth on this, and now they start to drop back again. Oh, this will be another one to challenge. Now it's either gone forward or it's a penalty. Yes, both. That was Ollie Leatherbarrow getting on the end of one that had already gone forward. And what do they say about teams being vulnerable as soon as they've scored?
You certainly don't want to concede as soon as you've just managed to get onto the scoreboard, and Cardiff Met are now lining up a kick of their own to draw this game level. Cal's having a word with the referee there, though, at the end. I don't know what he might be saying, Dave. Essentially just letting him know that he's there.
I wouldn't like to hazard a guess, but he's a very polite young man, so I'm sure whatever he was saying, his mother would be proud. So Ethan Morgan, first start of the season, first kick at goal of the match. to level things. An immediate response. Looked a decent strike, but doesn't trouble the uprights. Cardiff Met 0, Exeter 3. Again, those decisions, they're only vindicated if you manage to add the points.
It was the right decision still from Cardiff Met to go for that kick. It's unfortunate that it's not been able to go through the uprights and get them the extra 3 points. But it's certainly the right mentality to have at this stage in the game. You just want to get back into it, draw the scores level.
Oh, wow, Kofi Barton-Byfield. There was a knock on. He has melted Jake Thomas.
What a hit.
Huh. Oh, I felt that up here. I actually thought that Thomas fumbled the ball, but Barton-Byfield kept it in the breadbasket, but obviously it hit the deck. Now I expect this to go in and out sharpish from Beckinsale.
Yeah, Exeter have really struggled at scrum time here in this game to actually get some momentum from the set piece and well, try and beat the Cardiff Met front row.
Well, you'll know this as well as a number 8. This is a real challenge for 8 and 9.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Oh, they've won it against the head. This is sensational scrummaging from Cardiff Met. Joe Westwood gets beyond the first tackler. Barton thought about the jackal, then decided against it. Gibbons in there. Now Wickham, he spilled it. And now Exeter with turnover ball. Cortis, he's looked sharp. And Leatherbarrow looking to surge through the middle. Lovely pickup from Leatherbarrow. He's a good footballer. Barton. Misses out Higginson. Dan John tries to go around the outside. Ribbons, but it's just snuck forward. I was about to ask you about being a number 8 behind a scrum that's going backwards. 8 and 9 have just got to do anything they can to get that ball out, haven't they?
Absolutely. Communication at scrum time when you're in that position is key. When you've been to 3 of these scrums before, like Exeter have, and you've been put on the back foot constantly, you know that it needs to be in and out quickly. So you talk to your scrum half, you get them to get that ball in, but at some speed, normally with a little flick of the wrist, to try and get that ball moving through the pack quicker. And then it's just a case of you're not concentrating on that driving at all. You're concentrating on getting your arm as far in as possible to dig that ball out as quickly as possible and get round the corner and get it out to your back line. You know, we've seen former archer Alex Donbrandt do that really well a couple of times in the Premiership and indeed on the European circuit. And I think that it's something that Exeter have got to look at.
Well, Exeter's scrum is in real trouble. Another penalty advantage. That's not a great nudge, so we'll go back for it, but we get the thinking. That is now 4 scrum penalties and 1 hooked against the head. Yeah, that Don Brandt's all right, isn't he?
He certainly knows what he's doing when he puts on a number 8 jersey, that's for sure. He did it here on Rugby 1 in many, many matches. It was brilliant to watch, and it's just superb to watch on the international stage and indeed for Harlequins also.
Well, I've always said if I was an aspiring number 8 coming to Cardiff Met, I'd ask Danny Milton to put me in the second row because he played Don Brandt in the second row and he's going great guns. He played Tom Pearson in the second row and look how good he is at Irish. But halfway through the season last year, if I was you in Shenton, I'd say, Danny, stick me in at lock, mate. I'm after a contract. But, of course, everybody here is looking forward to seeing how he develops at Scarlets as well. It's an exciting time for a lot of these young players.
Absolutely. I mean, even Eddie Jones highlighted it. Cardiff Met is a professional rugby machine. We can just churn them out as much as we want. So hopefully lots of these boys playing this evening will find themselves in a similar position.
Now Stacey and now Thomas off his wing. Lovely step, but a good tackle from Vincent. They miss out Joe Cowell and then Ethan Morgan knocks one on. If I was Exeter and Cardiff Met were knocking it on, I'd be thinking, oh, another scrum. However, look, we've pumped the tyres up of the Cardiff Met programme here, but this Exeter programme, I'm sure they would say the most successful in the BSR era. I mean, the fact that...
I think there's about 4 teams that will put their hands up for that honour, unfortunately.
Well, here in Cardiff, of course, the WRU very excited about the likes of David Jenkins and Chris Chunza. We've had players like Sam Skinner and Tom Lauday, who seem to have been making a living in the Premiership for goodness knows how long. Umpteen of these players in orange this evening have been involved with Chiefs affiliated academy. Incredible programme, as are so many in this league. God, I do love BUCS Super Rugby.
It's another great scrum.
Here come the Archers again, and this time Exeter do get the ball away. That's an interesting nudge. Barton Byfield gives chase, picks it up. Great pickup from Barton Byfield, and Gibbon makes an important cover tackle. The kicking game working here for Exeter. That's William de Bomber. Barton. There's that short ball. Ewan Guy sniffing around it. No turnover this time. Barton takes it to the line so well and then just finds that short ball. And now Exeter into the 22. Starts to get exciting here, especially with Cardiff Met slipping off tackles. Here's Dan John in at first receiver, looking for options, but stops and goes himself. Ivanisevic called into defensive duty. 3-4 on the short side. Jocelyn's one of them. Oh, but he's picked up, carried out into touch. That is brutal bullying defence from Cardiff Met. But there was penalty advantage. And Exeter with another chance, perhaps, to extend the lead from the tee.
Statement tackle there, Dave. Driving the player out of play in such a manner like that. That is the Cardiff Met defence letting Exeter know exactly where they've come to play rugby this evening, exactly whose pitch this is and how they're not going to back down anytime soon.
Well, Exeter into the Met 22. They'll have hoped to have been a bit closer from that penalty. But this is a lovely opportunity as we're approaching half an hour. They've been here before and they couldn't make it stick. Another 5-pointer really put them in a good spot. Coming up to half an hour as well. Not in a rush, are they?
Well, no, they currently hold the lead, don't they?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure you'd be in a hurry if it were you out on the pitch as well. But Exeter have been dominated at scrum time, though, so it's interesting that they fancy themselves with a driving maul here, with the power that the Cardiff Met pack have already shown in this game.
Again, they've gone to the front. Starts to creep forward. Ollie Burrows in there. Goes backwards, forwards. Now Barton Byfield. It looks like a real bag of tricks, doesn't he? Met set up the defence, but Harris takes a decent carry. Oh, it's loose ball, but no one from Met is on hand, so Vincent can set them up. Better ruck speed there. Archie rolls on debut. He's having a torrid time in the scrum, but enjoying life out there. Oh, another knock on. And that is down to pure defensive pressure from Cardiff Met. A good tackle as Exeter try and push the pace. And we scrum down once more.
It's another disappointing phase of attack for Exeter. And if you're an Exeter fan, you'll be starting to get a little bit frustrated with how the team is starting to perform in this red zone danger area. Cardiff Met are doing well, though. They're sitting on this position in the pitch very well. They're applying pressure in defence. They're making sure that Exeter are making these mistakes and indeed coping with it quite well. They don't look as if they are too jolted, as if they are too disconnected. They're keeping their shape in defence well. I think what Cardiff Met need to do, though, is they need to spend more time in the other 22. Yeah. It seems like they spent more time in their own half than they have in the Exeter half this entire game. And that's not how you're going to get points on the board, and that's not how you're going to beat Exeter.
Really interesting arm wrestle in the opening half an hour. Again, if you are tuning in this evening, it would be remiss of me not to mention that this is a production put on by Cardiff Met Sport TV. So everybody, apart from myself, no comments, is a student here at Cardiff Met. So providing opportunities for commentary, presenting, camera work in the gallery. They really are doing a wonderful job here. And of course, you'll be hearing some fresh voices as well as the season rolls on. I step aside and some more people are given an opportunity on lead comms. But it's not just on the pitch where BUCS Super Rugby is leading the way. For this game, real attritional battle so far. Cardiff Met scoreless for half an hour. Just the one Josh Barton penalty. Ethan Morgan had the opportunity to immediately strike back. Haven't been any gilt-edged opportunities, have there? I mean, perhaps you could say Exeter when they had that tap penalty that they coughed up early. But what are they? 3 visits to the 22 now. no points as Cardiff Met go in search of the penalty. They need to be careful here. Can't stay in for too long. Oh. And then just as it looks like they've solidified the scrum, William Beckinsale gives away a silly penalty, which I'm sure they wouldn't tell him to his face, but his forward pack will be livid about.
I'm sure as he's running back towards the Archer Ultras as well, they'll certainly let him know that it was a silly penalty to concede. Yeah, look, Exeter finding themselves again in another dangerous situation. Again, under pressure from Cardiff Met at the scrum, and again, conceding the penalty and finding themselves back in their own half. And Cardiff Met now need to keep a hold of this ball and keep it in hand to hopefully run in a try of their own and really announce themselves in this fixture. That'd be a great way to cap off what is 8 minutes, I should say, left of this half.
How do you feel about commentary cliches?
I love them. Some of my favourite commentators are people like Murray Walker, who's very famous for his commentary cliches.
This game needs a try. That's my commentary cliche. That'll take us up until half-time as Cardiff Met look to take it out of the back. Kofi Barton-Byfield has his wits about him. That's knocked forward by Chester Ribbons. Now it's a foot race, and that is put behind by Bingo Ivanisevic, who has his wits about him. Loose ball, breaking free, and that could be a game breaker. It could be a scrappy effort like that. Cardiff Met just trying to thread the needle a bit too quickly, and Kofi Barton-Byfield, right place, right time. And Exeter right back in. So this looked like a knock-on, but it wasn't, was it? Just came off the toe end of Chester Ribbons.
No, a little bit of loose ball, open play. When those sorts of things happen and you're out there on the pitch, especially in greasy conditions, you've got to be quick in terms of how you react. That's how teams can score tries really easily. We saw it last week in the Cardiff clash. Cardiff Met pouncing on some open ball, making some fantastic runs to score. And again, this week, we see the ball pop out in open play. And who are the first team to react? Exeter were the first team to react. And they find themselves deep now in Cardiff Met territory. So it's really important to keep your heads up in this game, to keep your eyes on the ball, not lose any focus, because it's opportunities like that which could actually lead to game-winning tries, let alone normal tries, but game-winning tries that could really make a big difference in this fixture.
Well, a long conversation about exactly what is happening here. It was put out via Bingo Ivanisevic. We didn't see the shot, but I think it went out behind the try line in the dead ball area, so they're going to pack down for a set scrum. Now, from an attacking perspective, I love this position because they'll do it 15 metres in, 5 metres out, so you've got plenty of space to run up that short side if you want to.
Absolutely. I think, to be honest with you, they're going to invite Barton-Byfield into that blindside channel. It's definitely a dangerous position for him to find himself on the ball, and if it's not defended well, Cardiff Met could suddenly find themselves 8 points down at home in only the third BUCS Super Rugby game of the season.
Well, here's Kofi Barton-Byfield. The ball was ripped from him. Jake Thomas did everything right there, but sometimes the bounce of the ball just catches you out. Chester Ribbons and Ivanisevic, toe-to-toe. Bingo wins that one.
It's Joe Westwood coming across the pitch to make that kick out, really getting around the park well, making himself useful in both attack and defence in this game.
So this is interesting because Barton-Byfield is stood behind the scrum. Cardiff Met have left Thomas defending that 15-metre blindside. So Jack Wickham, the blindside flanker, might be called into action here. Everyone else for Exeter just lined up on the open side. So in it comes from Beckinsale. It's going to be Leatherbarrow to try and go himself. Great carry from Leatherbarrow. Leatherbarrow stopped agonisingly close, but Exeter on the front foot. A melee of bodies. The line in sight as close as they've been. There's no room for Archie Rolls that time, but it's still here with Exeter. Oh, loose pass sends them backwards, but now Barton creates some space for Cortis. Cardiff Met with, 6 metres to play with defensively. But Exeter with options both ways. It's going to be Leatherbarrow. Gets his head down and drops it. Another fruitless visit to the 22 for Exeter University.
That's a fantastic piece of defence from Cardiff Met. A brilliant turnover there with a phenomenal tackle. It's all about trying to get up front, get in the faces of the attack. You don't want to give them any room when they're running towards you in a dangerous position just like that. And Cardiff Met have stuck together well as a team there.
Well, they've knocked the ball on, so we go back for the original turnover. However, let's take a look at this here, where Leatherbarrow picks it up. It was a great handoff there. And what a defensive effort. Was that Jake Bond getting his hands under the ball?
It was. He was looking up at the ref as well. He was talking to him, seeing if he was going to give it as a try, maybe, to see if he got over the line.
But this is so uncharacteristic of Exeter. I know that teams evolve in BUCS Super Rugby, personnel changes, but one of the reasons why Exeter have been so successful in the BUCS Super Rugby era is they have been clinical. When they've got into the 22, they've taken their opportunities. They've been wasteful today. 4-5 times they've been within 5 metres. And another penalty at scrum time. Goodness me, that's 5 in the half.
There's a very good point you make there. This is very uncharacteristic of a champion team, really. This is not the same Exeter, I think, that won the BUCS Super Rugby Championship last year that we've seen here in this opening half. But I think we've certainly not seen the best of Cardiff Met yet in this game as well. They've got so much to offer still. They've got such a great team behind them. And Exeter also, they've had many trips to the 22 now, and they've only come away with 3 points from it. I'd say it's a bit of a disappointment for both sides almost.
Are you going down to talk through the highlights with Kian at half-time? I was going to say, good luck if you are, mate, because it's not been a huge amount to get your teeth into.
Look, you're scaring me there, Dave. I'm looking at our schedule frantically through my head, like, what's going on?
This time Cardiff Met go to the back. Again, the ball has been coughed up. It's been knocked on by Sam Higginson.
Historic head.
I mean, to counter that point that you've just made, though, I'd quite happily talk about scrums all day long throughout half-time, because the Cardiff Met pack this evening have been phenomenal at scrum time in the set piece, and I'm very excited because we've got another one that's about to happen right in front of us.
Right in position. Well, with that, Exeter make a change. Archie rolls just before half-time. His first start comes to a premature end. Harvey Dunn comes in. Final year student. He's actually converted to hooker, but with Owlett injured, he's back to cover tight head. Started a lot of rugby last year. Super versatile. But he's about to go nose to nose with Joe Cowell. Let's see if he can solidify the set piece for this Exeter team.
This will be the biggest scrum of the game for Exeter. I can guarantee you that now. They need to win this with that change.
Certainly more solid. Well, it's not a penalty this time. It's just a reset scrum. So
that's fine by me. It means we've got another scrum in front of us. But interestingly enough, World Rugby are identifying that not a lot of people are like me and enjoy scrums in rugby and the amount of resets that we have with them. So they're trialling some new laws down under in Queensland. They're trying to limit the amount of scrum resets that referees are allowed in order to keep that game moving and flowing. But they're just so much fun to watch, Dave. They really are. Especially on an evening like tonight where you've got Cowell, Olding and Salt all in that front row. It's a masterclass really this evening.
Once you get into them, once you speak to a prop who loves scrummaging and they talk you through the art of the scrum, it really does become a sight to behold. And also, if you support a team with a good scrum, you can get as excited about that as you can with anything. Like a scrum pen. It's like a rejection in basketball, isn't it? Or a big kill block in volleyball. It's just one of those moments where you can viscerally celebrate without adding any points to the board. But Harvey Dunn seems to have done the trick here. Now, Ethan Morgan puts that one high for Zheng to chase. Oh, great shot. Dan John, great take from him. But Roma Zheng helps himself to some ribs. Beckinsale tries to get something going. Counting down to half-time. Just a reminder that as our clock continues to tick, it's not entirely linked in with the referee's watch, so there could still be some action here as Cortis has a go around the outside. Lovely work from Cortis. Gets rid of defenders. Great handoff from Cortis, who loses his balance, but Exeter knocking on the door before conceding another penalty. But lovely work from Max Cortis. Dangerous break from him.
That was such a dangerous run. He flew up that pitch. He was like a knife through butter in that Cardiff Met defence. The tackles were way too high to try and stop a player of his calibre bursting through towards that try line. And luckily, Cardiff Met have been given a lifeline here by that penalty that they've conceded, and they'll get slightly further away from their own try line.
Well, great to see Max Cortis cutting loose. Coach's staff saying he's probably playing his best rugby. Played a lot of National League, injured most of last season, and it's always good to see players coming back from long-term injury and making an impact on the games. Danger for Cardiff Met, but danger relieved by another penalty coughed up in the red zone by this Exeter team.
They've definitely got to tidy this up. There's no way you can keep conceding that many penalties in the red zone and do well in this game. You don't want to rue those missed opportunities on the bus on the way home, because there's no way to replay them, unfortunately.
Tyler Olding. Maybe the last chance to dance for Cardiff Met in this first half. In steps Stacey. He's going to go up the short side here. Good feet from Thomas. Could have run himself into some trouble. Instead, he coughs it up to Beckenstall. Lovely backdoor from Beckenstall. Now Tom Harris tackled by his opposite number. Cardiff Met just unable to keep hold of the ball for long periods. That was Milo Hallam with the carry. Josh Barton again takes it to the line before spitting it out to Dan John. Scrappy from Chester Ribbons. Again, story of the half. Cardiff Met cough it up. Exeter don't do anything with it. Big shot on Tom Harris. And Josh Barton has seen enough. He's not the only one. It's half-time here at Rugby 1. Kincoid campus has produced a nuggety 40 minutes, but this one is still in the balance. Just the one penalty from Josh Barton separates the teams. And as they head to the sheds, it is Cardiff Met 0, Exeter 3. Now, players from all over the age spectrum in these teams. We've got freshers making their first bows. We've got fourth years looking to move on and get into the professional game. But everyone's welcome here at Cardiff Met. Plenty of opportunities for players to join one of the elite programmes in the country. Danny Milton's at the wheel. Let's have a look behind the curtain.
There's something special happening in Cardiff. At Cardiff Met University Rugby Club. And you can be part of it. Imagine joining a team of students who manage to excel at both their academic and sporting challenges. Imagine walking down a hallway where the International Honours Board reads like a who's who of British rugby. From Gareth Edwards, JJ Williams, John Bevan, John Devereux, and a host of British and Irish Lions legends, to the more recent superstars like Ryan Jones, Alex Cuthbert, Ken Owens, Dan Bibby, Sam Cross, Aaron Wainwright, Alex Dombrandt. Cardiff Met has been and still is one of the most famous nurseries of elite, international, professional and Olympic Sevens rugby players in the UK. Even Eddie Jones is a fan.
Luke Northmore, he's another one out of Cardiff Metropolitan University. Seems to be a popular breeding ground for test match rugby players. Don Brandt corrals the bars there for a while, and now Northmore's similarly out of there. He runs strong lines, carries well through contact. He's got good footwork.
So how do they do it? Young student rugby players at Cardiff Met have the opportunity to train in an academy environment and develop their rugby skills alongside their studies. They come out with excellent qualifications, well prepared to take on the next challenge following university. The Cardiff Metropolitan University Rugby Club offers its students the opportunity to play in any of its 12 teams. From the youth and freshers sides up through BUCS 5, 4, 3 and 2, the WRU Championship side, culminating in BUCS Super Rugby competition, the highest level of university rugby played in the UK, which is streamed live to viewers all over the world on Cardiff Met Sport TV.
Crowd all on their feet, ready for this line out. Oh, and it's a short pass! The number 2 through! There it is, and it's across the line for Cardiff Met!
But Romasheng He's out wide, he's on the left-hand side. It's a great step from Roma Zheng, and it's inside to Heath McVie. Oh, Roma Zheng, what a player.
They make the best of a bad situation. We see it here. Beautiful take from Roma. Hands off the defenders. We've seen this so many times this season. He's got the composure to find the number 21, Heath McVie. The opportunity to play elite rugby while studying at university is the result of investment in 3 areas: excellent coaching, top-class facilities, and high-performance sports science support. These 3 elements enable those who want to excel in the classroom and excel on the playing field to make the most of their time at university. As well as embracing excellence in athletics and academics for our students, our coaches too have a dual focus. A number of coaches within the programme have had international age grade coaching experience, are level 4 coaches, as well as academic staff, including international rugby researchers. As a result, the coaching culture is player-centred, developmentally focused, and demands excellence across the board. Cardiff Met's School of Sport and Health Science is a critical factor in being able to deliver world-class support to student rugby players. The recent investment into playing and training facilities is matched by high-performance sports science support in strength and conditioning, sport coaching, sport medicine, sport management, performance analysis, and sports psychology. These features make Cardiff Met a unique environment, and we attract student athletes from all over the world. By joining us, young rugby players become part of a living rugby research laboratory that produces graduates who can take on leading roles in the global rugby industry. Whether it's as a professional player or coach, an analyst, a trainer, or perhaps a manager of a sports centre or a marketing person with a pro team. To match the rugby experience, we provide opportunities for personal and professional development outside of sport through a range of applied academic programs and professional courses. Every year, our Archers graduates sign contracts with pro teams all over the UK. Most recently, Alex Dombrandt and Luke Northmore at Harlequins, Will Hurd at Leicester Tigers, Tom Pearson at London Irish, Ewan Shenton at the Scarlets. So whether your goal is to become a professional rugby player, using the outstanding development programme at the university to help you attain your dream, or to enjoy the experience of living and studying in Wales while immersing yourself in our rugby culture and becoming a better player along the way, is up to you. Who knows, perhaps the next Gareth Edwards or Ryan Jones is watching this video right now.
It's not going yet.
So I'm here with Emily Griffiths, centre of the Cardiff Met women's team. Emily, first and foremost, how has the season got going?
So it's been a really good start off to the season. Obviously, the first win to Exeter with really good score points on the boards, puts in a really good start for the start of the season. Hopefully just on and up from here and winning more games, winning the league hopefully.
Brilliant stuff. I mean, league title in the grasp. How was it playing on Rugby One with, I was here myself, a full like packed out stand?
It was great. It was a feeling we hadn't really had before because of COVID and other games not being really able to play on here. So it was really good to have the girls out here to support and even some of the boys. It's just great atmosphere and really drove us forward, and love to do it again, definitely.
Did the fans make a difference?
I feel like they did. At times it was very close. We were even at multiple times. Definitely gave us a little drive and a bit more determination to win for them as well as just us. It was really good.
Definitely stuff. I think
himself. It was fantastic work from Exeter there. They looked the more explosive from that kickoff in this second half. They looked the more dynamic. They were hungry to get on the scoreboard again, and they've done it with a fantastic try. We've got a replay now in front of us here. Great work from the back line to run a fantastic shape. It put the Cardiff Met defence in arrears, and a fantastic finish there from the number 11, Barton Byfield. It was a fantastic individual finish, but a great team try.
Well, he didn't have a lot of room, did he? There were plenty of Cardiff Met bodies that he had to tiptoe his way through. He's looked full of energy all evening. His first real chance to attack the try line. Now it's a 2-score game at 8-0 with the conversion to come.
He's been dangerous on the ball all evening, Dave. It wasn't going to be long before he got onto that scoreboard.
Well, we said the game needed a try. It's finally got one.
Do you have the winning lottery numbers as well then, Dave, for us, if you manage to get this try?
Unsuccessful conversion. Whispers from the other team in the capital is that they're currently ahead against Durham.
That's a big win if they can pull that off for Cardiff Uni.
I should say. That would be enormous. They back up their first win against Cardiff Met with their first win against Durham in consecutive weeks. Then all of a sudden, maybe the target shifts. Are they a legit threat to the title? Exeter back on the ball. Cardiff Met just struggling for both territory and possession. Another high hanging kick, tapped back well by Jocelyn. Advantage coming for the high tackle. Kicked end over end. Tell you what, the referee's called him there, but that would have been a 50-20 too. I mean, they're probably going to kick it to the exact point where they would have anyway. But
it was well covered in the backfield by Cardiff Met, to be fair. I think the referee didn't want to give them the benefit of the doubt and thought that he probably thought that it's going to go down there anyway, as you say. So he may as well let play continue. Exeter will enjoy the position they find themselves in now, because obviously they've had the better start of the two in this second half, and they're definitely in another prime position to score another try.
And of course they find themselves on the right touchline with that man full of confidence, Kofi Barton-Byfield, loitering with intent out there on the left. First job though, Ollie Burrows needs to find his man, and he does. It's Higginson at the front. There's Leatherbarrow. Oh, goodness me, Wilder Bomber. It's a long way down there for a big man to pick it up off the bootstraps.
It certainly is. They ran a shortened line out there, Exeter, as well. They definitely weren't looking to drive the ball forward. Again, just suggesting that Cardiff Met have the slight dominance when it comes to the forward pack.
Do you know what? The rain has stopped. It's actually a beautiful evening here now at Kincoid.
We've said it out loud now.
Yeah, I have, yeah. Absolutely. We'll be swimming out of here. Just you wait.
Don't worry, we'll find an inflatable canoe somewhere, Dave. We'll get out of here, okay.
First scrum of the second half. Remember, Exeter making that change. Harvey Dunn coming on the tight head side. He seems to have shored things up. And that's a great example of that. Well, it went down, but we're going to reset.
Cal just suggesting to the touch judge here that there's a little bit of pulling coming from the replacement tight head.
He's really vocal, Joe Cowell, isn't he?
He's a very vocal man on the pitch. I've seen him around campus quite a few times, and I do get the odd hello. He does seem to keep himself to himself, but he is a very vocal captain out on that pitch, and that's probably exactly what you want.
Well, there's been lots been said about who he is and how he approaches his time with Cardiff Met. He's had a great pre-season, didn't go to that summer Wales age groups camp, and hasn't trained with other clubs because he sees Cardiff Met as his club for the time that he's here. Oh, decent carry off the base there by Jake Bond. Wasn't the cleanest pickup. That's passed back into the 22. And it's squirted to Dan John, who waits deep. Oh, that's an awkward nudge to take, but actually bounces quite kindly. Here's Bond again. Is he going to have another go?
He certainly is.
Oh, but he's driven back. Look at that work from Ross Vincent. Exeter winning that collision with the Archers 8. Into the 22, so the chance to clear. This time, Burrows dishing it. Better exit this time. That'll take him up to halfway. Looking to go quickly there. You've got to admire the tempo.
Yeah, Exeter are looking like the stronger side when the ball is in play and when they've got this tempo at a high level. Cardiff Met just seeming to slip away almost from Exeter here in this fixture. Again, running a shortened line out here as well.
Beckensall That's Ribbons in midfield. Oh, unlucky from Leatherbarrow. But if it's gone forward and Barton's caught it, is that not offside?
No, so he's not really knocked the ball on. So if you knock the ball on and a player in front of that person who's knocked the ball on then recollects it, that's when you get your penalties and your offsides. If it's just a forward pass going forward or a slight spill.
My eye's playing tricks on me. Changes being made here for Cardiff Met. That's Jack Wickham with his hands on his head making his way to the sideline, and that's Barnaby Waddle, the former Exeter chief, getting some attention to the right knee as well. So the lock cover for Cardiff Met. Brandon Harvey, USA Eagle under 23, second year. Quite a versatile man. Steph Davis coming on for Cardiff Met as well. Scorer of highlight reel tries. Regular watchers of BUCS Super Rugby will remember the screamer he scored against Hartbury last season.
His rugby hero, interesting enough, is Sonny Bill Williams.
Is it?
So he's certainly got that mindset in his head that he wants to score these champagne rugby tries.
Well, he stood in the back line there in that, what is it, navy blue? Midnight ink? Bit of silver? Can't tell the colour from here. Yeah, midnight ink, I said it.
If Canterbury are listening, they'll certainly rename it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Rogers blue. So Stacey's still on, as is Beckinsale. The two scrum halves that started. And then Met get the nudge on.
It's a great shove.
Oh, the Archers really finding their voices as well. The Archers Ultras. Got quite a reputation, haven't they? As have EURFC Flair, but theirs is more silver-tongued online contributions as opposed to the numbers at the fixtures getting behind the team.
They've certainly been having a nibble at each other online in the past, and indeed recently. It's all a bit of friendly banter at the end of the day.
Of course it is,
but
we love it.
Cardiff Met are always that 16th man here at Kincoid, always behind the boys, always backing them, and they are really the difference sometimes in these fixtures.
So we pack down. Coming up to 10 minutes gone, just the Kofi Barton Byfield try added to the scoreboard in the second stanza. Little nudge in behind for Zhang to chase. Pressure on here for Dan John, but he looks calm, and that's an inside of the boot spiral. Copyright that, Dan John. That's delicious. Morgan is going to chase his own nudge here. That's Beckinsale. What a take. Shades of the cricketer about William Beckinsale there. Ball's out. Chance for Met to turn it over. They have done, and they've knocked it on. Oh, the microcosm of the game in one play. Just can't get any momentum, the home team.
That's so frustrating to see happen right in front of us as well. Cardiff Met would be so careful there. They didn't want to give away a penalty, constantly looking at the ref to make sure it was okay. They got the nudge. They got the, it's okay, go for it, it's an open play. And unfortunately, spilt the ball forward. It's so frustrating. It must be frustrating for the players out on the pitch. It's certainly frustrating as a fan watching on.
News from Cardiff v Durham. Cardiff 22-21 ahead. That would be absolutely incredible if they could go 3 from 3 against that calibre of opposition. Alan Flowers and the crew doing a pretty good job over there on the red side of the city. But here we pack down for another scrum. Met not as dominant as they have been in this part of the game, and that'll be of sweet relief to the men in orange. I mean, it's only me, you, and the many, many viewers watching around the world. But what do you think of this Exeter kit?
It's very reminiscent of Nottingham kit, I must say. Just looking on now and thinking about this current BUCS Super Rugby season, it's very flash, very, oh dear.
First penalty at scrum time for Exeter. And that's a real sea change.
Cowell is shaking his head there. He can't believe what's just happened, and neither can the rest of the Cardiff Met Ultras.
Neither can Ty, the scrum coach. Oh, but they've missed touch by a mile, but then it's coughed up. Oh, Steph Davis. Steph Davis knocks one on. And Exeter get out of jail after a terrible penalty kick. And they're back in the 22.
Not only do they get out of jail, Dave, they get all the way down into the Cardiff Met 22. They've done a fantastic job to make their way down this pitch and again get in another very threatening position, but they've got to be squeaky clean. We've seen them in this position time and time again. If they drop that ball again or if they concede another penalty, it's another missed opportunity.
Under half an hour to go. It's a game that's never really caught fire, but while there's only 8 points in it, still enough to keep you on the edge of your seats. If Cardiff Met get the next score, game on. If it goes Exeter's way, then it is looking like a tall climb for the hosts. Changing at first receiver. This Chester Ribbons steps off the left foot again and gets over the gain line. He's looked excellent at inside centre today, Ribbons. Here's Burrows. Bertie Taylor's on for Cardiff Met. We're in number 20. He makes the tackle there. Exeter within 10 metres again. That's Harvey Dunn, the replacement tight head. And Milo Hallam missed out. Exeter working their way back into the centre of the field with Burrows. Another direct carry. Another tackle from Taylor. Slows the ball down. Here's Ribbons. Back to Leatherbarrow. Just finds a way to beat the first man every time. Leatherbarrow. Now Barton. Little nudge in behind for himself. This could be brilliant. Oh, Barton scores. He's mobbed by the replacements because that's a bit of BUCS Super Rugby magic from Josh Barton.
It was a fantastic bit of heads-up rugby. He saw that there was a slight gap in front of him and that he could exploit it with a brilliant kick along the ground. He wasn't challenged by anyone. He did have someone coming in from the Cardiff Met team, but it didn't come soon enough, unfortunately.
Watch this from Barton, and this is why he's special at this level. Spots a mismatch. He's up against Elliot Salt, knows that there'll be defenders coming across to cover, but drops it on the toe. Uses that greasy surface that has been such a thorn in the side of both teams all night and adds a highlight reel score for Exeter, who've now got a 13-point lead.
I can certainly see now why many at Exeter University see him as Exeter's own Marcus Smith. It was very reminiscent of the English fly-half style of play, of how he just saw a slight chance in front of him and through a brilliant bit of technical kicking, he was able to make his way in for the score.
One penalty, one missed conversion, one try. And that's not a great nudge from Josh Barton, but he's still certainly in the positive points column. That is a gorgeous try from him. However, Exeter, it's still a 2-score game. Theoretically, nothing's changed.
In theory, no, but obviously Cardiff Met will be feeling slightly deflated after a score like that. It certainly did come after a point in the game in which Exeter were strongest, but they'll be wanting to get back into this as quickly as possible. They don't want to be down by 13 points on their home turf at any stage of the season, let alone right at the beginning of it.
Well, they've won the penalty immediately. Brandon Harvey on for Cardiff Met. He's wearing number 19. Here's that USA Eagle we were talking about.
Fantastic strength shown there by Brandon Harvey to win that ball back for Cardiff Met. Those rucks are so difficult to make sure you can get your body low enough around that ball and stay supported as everyone's hitting you from every single angle. And it's something that the work that Die Watch does with these guys in the strength and conditioning will be shown in its fruition on the pitch here.
Couple of updates from around the grounds. Got to thank Georgie from BUCS for texting these in. Hartbury 14-12 up against Bath. That's at half-time. The late kick-off, only half an hour in. Loughborough 18-5 up against Nottingham. So that East Midlands derby currently looking rosy for the team in African Violet, looking for their second victory in a row. Now this much better from Cardiff Met. They're getting a rumble on the backs, have joined in. You feel like they've got a score here, but it's sacked. Cardiff Met now short of numbers, and Exeter come up with the turnover. That is a massive moment in this rugby match.
That's unfortunate there for Cardiff Met. They had the momentum going forward in that maul, that driving maul there where they brought even more players in from across the pitch, and they were looking very, very dangerous.
Potentially the story of the week in BUCS Super Rugby is Cardiff University have just got the bonus point try and they lead Durham 29-21 with 4 minutes to go.
Wow.
Well, that is a result that will send shockwaves around the division as the red side of Cardiff could go 3 from 3 and a perfect 15-point start to this year.
That certainly announces themselves as serious top end of the table contenders for the year, and something that fans here around Kincoid campus won't like the sound of.
I love this league. I love this league so much. Scrum time here, approaching the final quarter. Cardiff Met desperate for points.
This is a big scrum moment for Cardiff Met. Captain Cal will definitely want to use every trick in the book to make sure that he can get his pack on the front foot again. He'll be asking everyone to dive deep into the petrol tank, into that engine room, and really fire their way through the Exeter pack. They want to make sure that they can get the ball back.
Beckinsale still on. No change at half-back for either team into the last quarter. Cardiff Met win the scrum penalty. Oh, that's big. The 6th scrum penalty of the match for the Archers.
They've done exactly what they needed to do, Dave. They've done exactly what they needed to do in this position.
Well, they turned the screw enormously, and that's another one against the head as well.
It's the replacement, Harvey Dunn, who we see down on the floor there. So worrying times now for Exeter, because he was the replacement tight head that came on that started to make a difference to that Exeter scrum. Started to get a little bit more stable. And now, if they lose him as well, could Exeter find themselves in a dangerous situation?
Look, mate, you're on telly.
Well, you're on telly. I'm blending in with the gantry at the moment, unfortunately. I think if I go back far enough.
Either way, this is the Cardiff Met Sport TV production. They bring you wonderful work throughout the season, and effectively they are creating fully tooled up media droids that are eventually going to put us all out of work. So if you fancy a career in telly, you can get yourself along to do the undergrad or the masters here at Cardiff Met. Look, to be fair, the rugby team had their promo at half-time, so it's the least we can do to plug the course that Townsy and Steph put on. But it really is magnificent. And it's a pleasure to be down here. I mean, look, we've spent a lot of time pumping up Cardiff Met's tyres for obvious reasons. We talked about the quality of the programme at Exeter too, but wherever I go every week with BUCS Super Rugby, it hammered it down with rain in week number 1 up at Durham, but Harding Hill was packed, and so was the stand up at Hollow Drift, at Loughborough there, on the 4G, at Epinal Way. They've got a couple of thousand every game. I mean, Nottingham have even been charging for tickets, and they've still had thousands at the game, and they're brand new to the league. Everyone's getting behind it. The standard of rugby vindicates the support and the enthusiasm as well. Now, this is a big scrum, because Cardiff Met have won the penalty here. They've not gone for the corner. They've not gone for the posts. They've not gone for the quick tap. They've backed the pack to get them over the line. All the while, of course, they need 2 scores. The clock continues to tick. This is a massive, massive moment.
It's a must-win moment, to be honest with you. They are in a prime position to set up a fantastic backs move. We've got Jake Thomas, who is looking straight at that scrum from the right wing there. He is sniffing for a try. And, of course, this blind side can definitely be exploited. Romazeng sitting on this near side towards us now. He's looking straight at that scrum as well. So both wingers from Cardiff Met hungry for that ball to get out and get into the back line.
Well, they've gone open, and they've gone to the centres. Huge moment here. Best chance of the match for Cardiff Met so far. They pick, they go, they're 3 metres out. It's Exeter's turn to defend. Cardiff Met can smell the white paint on the try line. Ali Stacey thinking about going for it, but it sticks with the forwards. There are hands on that from Exeter. Slowing it down, but not turning it over. A little jaunt up the blind side. Good look at it here for the referee.
It's been held up.
Held up.
That's so unfortunate for Cardiff Met, but a fantastic period of defence there from the Exeter team.
And Exeter, after some great defence, can breathe a sigh of relief and brace themselves for the next wave. Always fascinating to see the development of this goal line restart as well. Some teams have been going for competitive, but not this time from Exeter. They want metres. Another late step from Bond. Gets him some good metres. Here's Ivanisevic. Oh, dummies and goes! Nearly breaks through. What a cover tackle from Bingo Ivanisevic. Oh, big shot there. Hit that. Tom Harris putting the shoulder in. Now Morgan goes inside. Cowell recovers it. Ball's gone backwards, but then the penalty conceded. And the energy in this game is changing. Well, and there's the example.
Yes, well, the Exeter pack were going in there for afters. They were making the comments at Cowell, who's certainly not going to sit back and take it. It's unfortunate there from Cardiff Met that the ball wasn't kept in hand. It's just one of those unfortunate things. We've had the rain coming earlier. We've got a greasy ball. We've got greasy conditions. And that's when the little cracks start to show in teams.
Well, let's have another look at the needle. In fact, there was a little push there on Joe Cowell. Then they came in again as Thanos threatened to click his fingers.
I've compared him more to Mr. Incredible, not really Thanos myself.
No, it's the goatee that does it for Thanos for me. Look at the size of these two units here. Joe Cowell and Ollie Leatherbarrow. Absolute monstrous humans, but cracking players as well. But look at the body language of the referee here. He is showing them that in no certain terms is this acceptable.
Yeah, we've got to reiterate the point here, really, that whilst it looks like there was a bit of a kerfuffle going there on the pitch, both sides have the utmost respect for each other off it. Obviously, Cowell and many of the others involved in those Wales camps will know each other very, very well from their time spent together.
Oh, it's another loose kick. Oh, no, it's not. It is sensational. Look for a second there like Steph Davis could have got underneath that, but he's not positioned himself well. For the second time, he's been caught out of position. If he stood behind the goal line and attacking that, the ball stays in play. Instead, he's lost it over his head. And Exeter bounce went into touch, and they have got a massive opportunity to maybe put this game to bed.
He knew it as well. Straight away, his head fell into his hands. He knew the mistake that he'd made there. But he's just got to knuckle down with the rest of the Cardiff Met team and defend this with all of their might. They can't afford Exeter to score another try.
Well, it's loosened up. Cardiff Met have added some bodies, but now Ollie Burrows gets the ball at the back and starts to work his way towards the line. He's over the line. It's try number 3 for Exeter. It's 18-0, and it's a mountain to climb for the hosts at Kincoid campus.
Barney Langton was making his way through that maul as well, trying to desperately get to the ball to disrupt the Exeter drive forward. But there was just no stopping it. Exeter's pack working sublimely well together. As we take another look at it here, great communication from the pack here to make sure that they keep that ball alive, they keep that roll around, and the peel means that they can get that ball over the line for another try.
Well, there were hands on heads from Cardiff Met players there, and that is because they have gone 65 minutes scoreless here at what has been formerly known as Fortress Kincoid. Now, before this conversion goes over, huge news from the other side of the city. It is full time. Cardiff University 29, Durham, the league champions, 21.
Wow.
A bonus point win. And more importantly, Durham leave empty-handed. 0 points.
They'll be very disappointed with that. They hate to travel on the road and not come away with something. That's what's made them great contenders in this league.
Better nudge this time from Barton. He takes them up to 20. 3-score game, 15 minutes to go. Exeter, 1 try away from the bonus point. Cardiff Met just need some points on the board. Well, this is a fascinating game.
15 minutes left. It's quite the mountain to climb, Dave.
Just cast your mind back, though, to a few moments ago. Seems like a few moments ago. Cardiff Met looking like they're going to score. They get held up over the line. Great clearance kick from Barton. Force the penalty in midfield. Kick yourself to the corner. That's 2 huge moments and effectively a 14-point swing, or at least a 12-point swing. Oh, there's the charge down, though. It's off the toes, not the fingers. It's still rattling around. Oh, that's a massive moment. Brandon Harvey
The USA skipper there using all of his experience and knowledge to remain so composed there in such a high pressure situation, and he's forced Exeter to carry that ball over the line, so it means that Cardiff Met have the put in at the scrum with a brand new front row there for the Met, and they're 5 metres out.
No protection in for Brandon Harvey. For the scrum half here. Brandon Harvey can just help himself.
Do you know what? He'll be more gutted that he wasn't able to regather that in his hands and take that ball over himself.
Replacement scrum half on. Rory Morgan. Another good scrum here for Cardiff Met. Here's the advantage. Rory Morgan finds the short ball. Cardiff Met score. It's been a long time coming, but finally the deadlock is broken. There's points in the ledger, and maybe, just maybe, there's a game on.
Look at what that meant to Bingo as he went over and scored that try. A massive reaction there from the number 12. Great work again from the Cardiff Met forwards as we're going to take another look at it now, I think. A phenomenal set piece again by the Archers. That new front row making an amazing impact at scrum time. And it's a nice, easy ball out to Bingo Ivanisevic, running a fantastic hard line and crashing over for Met's first try of the game.
Beautiful delayed pass from Morgan, wasn't it? Just sow that little seed of doubt and watch Bingo Ivanisevic do the rest. While we were on the replay, the conversion went up. "12 minutes to go. Barton goes high. It goes above the lights. That's a decent take from Roma Zheng. He's not had a huge amount to do in this game, Roma Zheng.
He's not afraid to come off that wing, though. He'll definitely be looking to bite back into the midfield to get on the ball.
So Rory Morgan, decent kicking game. Oh, good take from John. That's lovely work from the fullback. And he wriggles over as well. Niall Armstrong on as a replacement scrum half for Exeter. Crossing in midfield. Conversion was successful. Confirmation, 2017.
As again, it's Exeter looking like they're in a very threatening position, but again, making a very small mistake, which is a big cost for them because Cardiff Met find themselves with a penalty, easily able to get back up that pitch again and back into another threatening position.
Up over halfway. Well, I've mentioned it a few times, but if you are joining us at BUCS Super Rugby for the first time, welcome. Might we have a bit of drama here? That lot certainly think so. Here's Connor Chapman who's on. Throws long to the back. What a one-handed take that is. Now here is Zheng off his wing. Looking to charge down the middle. Leather Barrow falls off the tackle. Hand off there from Langton. Puts that big long hand out. Cardiff Met charging in to that clear out. Oh, that's a line for you. Hello. Oh, they've missed the tackle. Goodness me. That's Brad Roderick Evans who's on at 22. Looked outside and wanted to see a winger. Instead, he saw Connor Chapman and held on to it.
A fantastic way to announce himself in this fixture. Roderick Evans coming off of the bench there and making an impact straight away.
Roma Zheng goes to ground quickly. It's Benji Josseland with the tackle. Now Bertie Taylor looks to set it up. Cardiff Met inside the 22. Into the last 10 minutes. Feels like they need to score in this passage of play. Bingo Ivanisevic into space. Here's a chase. Kofi Barton Byfield fumbles it, then recovers it. He's dragged into touch, and the screw is turning in the Welsh capital.
Look at what that means to the Archer Ultras and the fans on the far side of the pitch. The fact that Ewan Guy was there on the wing, to apply the pressure. Fantastic break there from Bradley Roderick Evans. A great way to really announce yourself as arriving in this fixture. He was able to keep the ball in hand. He weighed up all of his options. He saw a gap and he went for it. And he sniped through that extra defence.
He wanted to see Roma Zheng on his left-hand side, didn't he? Not Connor Chapman, but either way, Cardiff Met on the march.
They've got a good drive going here.
Oh, they're close. Referee having a good look. Referee having a really good look. It's 2 tries in quick succession for the Archers. Game on here.
A fantastic beat piece of forward play. Look at this maul. Look how brilliantly they're able to cope with the Exeter defence. They tried to split them up as much as possible, but no, the Archers were having none of it. Once that ball got to ground, they kept their composure, they got reset, and they got over the line, importantly, to get back in this game.
Well, this kick, now incredibly important. If it goes over, it's a one-score game. And interestingly, it'll be the left boot of Morgan, not the trusty boot of last year's BUCS Super Rugby top point scorer Brad Roderick Evans, who goes for the sticks. We'll know as soon as it leaves the boot. It's good! It's Cardiff Met 14, Exeter 20.
What a fantastic kick there by Ethan Morgan. Those situations, such high pressure, and he kept composed. He got that ball sailing through the air. Brilliant.
Now this is where it gets interesting. Of course, both teams want to win this game, but if it ends now, Cardiff Met pick up a losing bonus point. Exeter pick up the 4 points for the win, having not got the 4 tries for the bonus point. Competitive restart, but it comes back Met's way. Now Roma Zheng backs himself on the outside. Ball gone forward. Really good cover tackle. Ross Vincent, the Italian, not to be taken out wide by the hot heels of Roma Zheng.
He's very dangerous on that blind side. We've seen it happen before where Roma Zheng's found himself in that situation and he's blistered past defences. So that tackle was crucial to come in there from Ross Vincent, who now departs us from the field, I believe.
He's just going into the midfield, isn't he? More changes for Exeter. Jared Williams. He's a club legend, and there's always the bet as to whether or not he's going to get more than 10 minutes. Alas, not tonight. But it's great to see him on, Jared Williams, covering on the loose head side. Now Exeter going in search of the bonus point try, and surely the try that would put the final nail in the Archers' coffin.
They're not going down without a fight, though.
Well, penalty advantage here. Is that a no-arms tackle? So he's gone for the chop and not put any hands on it. Loughborough 23-5 up against Nottingham at half-time. We thought that might be the acid test for the new boys this evening. Again, far from over. They came from behind early on against Leeds Beckett in the opening game.
It's interesting they're opting for the 3 points here at this penalty because it should take Exeter out of reach of Cardiff Met in this fixture with only 7 or so minutes left to play.
Well, it makes it a 2-score game, and also it starves Cardiff of that, or so Cardiff Met, should I say, of that bonus point, that losing bonus point. Josh Barton scored that beautiful try, but it's been a mixed bag off the tee for the outside half. That is a mighty racket behind him. But he silences the King Coyd faithful with a crisp strike to make it 23-14.
Cardiff Met now find themselves in a very difficult position. They're 9 points down. They've got 6 minutes left on the clock. They need to make sure that every phase of play counts now. No mistakes can be spilt at this stage in the game.
Well, Ewan Guy looking to get hands on his opposite number, Vincent. I think that's been taken back in by Exeter, so it's not going to go direct to touch. Niall Armstrong shapes himself for the box. 3 men in the backfield here for Cardiff Met. Steph Davis underneath it. Bit better this time. Thinks he sees some space, needs men with him. There are hands on that from Exeter. Rory Morgan and now Barney Langton.
Good competition from Exeter there at every single ruck. They want that ball back desperately.
John's underneath it. Oh, he looks so good under the high ball, Dan John. Really lovely footballer. Certainly one of those players who everyone around the league's excited to see how he develops. Lucas Dorrell is on. We're in number 20 there. He's a first year of Australian-French heritage. That's some rugby combo, isn't it? Played about half a dozen games in Pro D2 last year, so he is not to be messed with.
No, he's certainly got the experience behind him to bring a new level of physicality into BUCS Super Rugby, as I'm sure many other boys will have in that Exeter side from the experience through the Truro and Exeter College pathways with the Chiefs.
That's a decent take from Ethan Morgan. Oh, and a good clear out as well. Just when it looked like Todd Mule, late substitute in the second half, was going to get hands on it. 3.5 minutes to go.
Cardiff Met are down a man because Steph Davis has come off on this near side to us.
Good protection. I mean, it's a decent chase, but Exeter just put in bodies between Cardiff Met and the ball. Still plenty of noise coming from the stands, but Exeter on the ball, the clock ticking. Just a reminder again that our clock not linked in with the referee's watch, so if there is another score, don't get too excited. There could still be some meat on the bone. Thomas loses his footing, but then gets away from Benji Josseland. Oh, that's gone backwards. Just Cardiff Met playing with fire here. That was Roderick Evans. Wrong part of the pitch here for the home team. Exeter doing everything they can to see this game out and looking composed in doing so. Final 2 minutes. Dan John, oh, watches one over his shoulder, but then shows great feet to get away. Can't find the offload. Certainly doesn't need to. Armstrong. Out of the back here to Barton. Still looking to fling it around. Fair play to Exeter. Fair play to Ollie Burrows as well, the hooker, who's looking like he's putting in an 80-minute shift in the front row. No full back home for Cardiff Met. Where's this going to bounce? Oh, watch the chase. Barton Byfield. Whew. Cardiff Met hit the brakes and he flies right by. Dan John. Oh, what a nudge. As I say that, it bounces over the try line. Cardiff Met squiffily up the pitch. All right, couple of minutes to go then. Man of the match time. Don't tell me right now as Barton looks to guide that one into touch. Oh, beautiful nudge from Josh Barton. We've got a bit of time, so I don't want you to blow the surprise straight away. Who's impressed you this evening for both teams? Who have you enjoyed?
There's been a lot of good performances across the pack this evening. Of course, that starting front row for Cardiff Met were phenomenal at the scrum time. A big favourite of mine. Jake Bond's had a really good game with the ball in hand. Again, Bingo Ivanisevic in that midfield for Cardiff Met looking strong. Gibbon never really frightened by the high ball, but the quality of the Exeter players this evening. Ross Vincent has been outstanding. Ollie Leatherbarrow as well. Josh Barton in particular does spring to mind as a front runner for that man of the match position because he's been commanding that Exeter team so well. But also Dan John, playing out of position ever so slightly, but dealing with it very, very well. So there's a lot of good talent that's been out there on show this evening. So anyone's game, really.
All right, next stoppage, we'll get man of the match. I've got to say a quick hello to Sam Hobbs, coaching at Dragons now, former Cardiff Blue, who's been in touch to tell me that he used to coach Barney Langton and Jared Williams at Met and Exeter, who played for the same comp school. And that's the crossover, isn't it? All of the players interwoven into this great league that we all enjoy so much. But good to hear from you, Hobbsy. Hope you're well, mate. And I hope the referees stop the watch here because there's a couple of minutes to go and we've got the end of a rugby match to enjoy.
We have indeed, yeah. We've just seen a quick change there from Cardiff Met. The pressure's on them right now.
And that's Ethan Morgan limping off as well. Last throw of the dice for Cardiff Met. Maybe too late to win the game, but not too late to pick up a bonus point.
Right idea from Morgan. They're going down the blind side.
Well, he's nudged it over the top, but safe hands. Dan John is there. Already talked about him as a potential man of the match, and he looks to put on the afterburners here, Dan John, but he's covered well. Up to the 10. Cardiff Met over the ball, sniffing around the turnover. Oh, not this time. Well dealt with by Exeter. Our clock has hit 80. The clock in the arena has also hit 80. But Cardiff Met pick up the penalty. Now. Oh, and 10 metres. So what do you do here? Do you go for the post and guarantee the bonus point? Or do you throw the Hail Mary?
Oh, Milton's men will never be satisfied with just a single losing bonus point. It's got to be the corner. They've got to go for every single point they can get in this match. At the end of the day, if they can't come away with the win, they need to ensure that losing bonus point, but also reduce the deficit to Exeter so that their points difference, in the BUCS Super Rugby League table doesn't hinder them later on in the year.
Well, with Ethan Morgan off, that's Brad Roderick Evans in at 10. He finds the touch, and that's brought down by the aforementioned Barney Langton. Bingo Ivanisevic has added his weight. It's a penalty advantage. Met closing in. It's try number 3. Is there hope?
This is fantastic. What a sublime driving maul from the Cardiff Met pack. I've spoken about them all game and how they've been playing at such a high quality, and Exeter just haven't been able to deal with them at the crucial moments. But as we watch a replay here, and again, communication is key as a pack when you're moving forward. The communication there to know that the maul was peeling around and that there was that breakaway group, and Cardiff Met just slid over for a try unopposed from Exeter as a result.
Man of the match, please.
Wow, what a time to do it.
Oh, the kick's good, and we're going to restart. Here we go. 21-23. Time on the clock. But I still need a man of the match.
But this is what BUCS Super Rugby is all about, isn't it? These nail-biting finishes and amazing games. For me, though, man of the match has to be that number 10 for Exeter, Josh Barton. He's still out on the pitch there in front of us. He's had a fantastic game. He's threaded passes through to his back line, which has seen them go over for tries. We've had a bit of individual brilliance from him as well, for one. But definitely a special mention does go out to Ross Vincent, the Exeter number 7. He's had a great game. I love it when a forward has a fantastic game. He's made some great hits as we see him produce another one there in defence. But I can't not acknowledge some of the great performances from Cardiff Met, as I've said already. Fantastic performance from Oliver Gibbon today, and indeed Jake Bond.
Last play of the game then. Cardiff Met chasing it. They've never led in this encounter. They've got to throw caution to the wind. In Premiership Rugby this year, we've seen teams go the length of the field, Exeter Chiefs being one of them against Harlequins, to win the game. Now with a penalty, Cardiff Met will have one last throw of the dice. Oh, they've gone quickly.
No, they had to get that down the pitch.
Is that a final mistake for Cardiff Met? Here we go, inside their own 22. Romajeng needs to stay away from the touchline. Antas checks in field. Oh, he's met by Leatherbarrow, who is sniffing around the turnover. This is one last lung-busting effort for one of these teams. Roderick Evans dives on the loose ball. Exeter bodies in there, but they can't get it on the ball. If it goes dead, it's over. Oh, it's coughed up. Bingo Ivanisevic knocks the ball on. Exeter need to put it dead.
You can see the frustration from Ivanisevic. He knew how big that carry was going to be. And the referee's just given the Exeter team the nod that is indeed the end of the game.
Well, it's the hope that kills you. That's a brilliant counter drive. I mean, it's not going to count. Oh, do you know what? The referee put his hand up the other way and then turned around. Oh,
he had the ultras confused as well. He had all of us absolutely bamboozled there. We've got a replay coming out of that fantastic drive-through, actually, from Ewan Guy.
And with that, man of the match, Josh Barton, clears the ball to touch. What started as one for the purists has ended up being a BUCS Super Rugby epic. Cardiff Met were down and out. Exeter were home and hosed. They were 18-0 up. Then the comeback began. The Archers, the Ultras had hope. But Exeter University shine through. You can never keep them down for long. They pick up their first win of the season, and boy, oh boy, I think it could be an important one. Full-time here at King Coyd, it is Cardiff Met 21, Exeter University 23.
Absolutely. This was a statement win from Exeter University. They needed to make sure that it wasn't going to be 3 losses in the bounce in BUCS Super Rugby, and they've certainly done that this evening. They had a sublime performance in lots of different areas of this pitch. They were great in counter-attacking rugby. They were great keeping that tempo high and making their way up the pitch very quick, but a great response from Cardiff Met in the second half. Was it too little too late? I guess that's how it's panned out for them, unfortunately. But they'll take the confidence into next week that they did manage to score some great tries, and their pack were brilliant today. Fantastic scrums, fantastic mauls, and it's something that Coach Ian Garner will definitely be proud of going into this next week.
Well, do stick with us. We're going to be going back down to Cian Tukey. He's going to be interviewing man of the match Josh Barton, as well as the coaches as well. Just a word on Josh Barton. We see him there in the number 10 jersey. Started in the final. He was a real key cog in that championship winning machine. Didn't have the best of nights off the tee, but he's just got that lovely bit of magic in open play, and he's a joy to watch, isn't he?
He is. He's absolutely a joy to watch. There's something about it when he's got his 2 feet on the ground and the ball in hand, he can just suddenly see the spaces and the gaps in front of him unfold, and he's able to exploit that. I mean, as I said earlier, he's described as Exeter's own Marcus Smith with the ball in hand in open play, and we've certainly seen that this evening. Fantastic bit of heads-up rugby, and definitely deserving of that Man of the Match award.
And we do love Magic Marcus. Right, Hartpury beat this Exeter University team on the opening game of the season. They are currently 19-27 down to Bath at the Alpas Arena. We've seen Cardiff University go 3 from 3 against the defending league champions. Cardiff Met, 1 win from 3. Loughborough about to take Nottingham's undefeated record. Well, looking like they're going to. Never say never in BUCS Super Rugby. The league's on its head. It's bonkers, it's brilliant, and that's why we love it.
That is exactly why we love BUCS Super Rugby. Look, anything is going to happen in this league, and we might come around this time next week and we're talking about a massive win for Cardiff Met, or we might be talking about a massive win for Exeter. We could be talking about a massive win for anyone at the end of the day, Dave. It just goes anywhere at the moment in BUCS Super Rugby, and I think that victory against Nottingham this evening will definitely humble the new boys in the BUCS Super Rugby League, and will certainly give a little bit of confidence to teams like Cardiff Met, who are still yet to face them and were perhaps feeling a little bit nervous after they came into this league with 2 very big wins in the opening couple of weeks.
Well, do stick with us throughout the season, whether it's watching all the games here at Cardiff Met, of course, while this team develops, but also while this group of Cardiff Met broadcast master's students develop as well. They'll be bringing you as many live streams as they can get out, and of course we follow the league around the country with the official BUCS Super Rugby streams as well. Danny Milton's in there. That is 2 losses by a combined total of 3 points in 2 weeks. Those are the kind of tiny margins we're dealing with, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. And we saw it was a very brief word from him in that team huddle at the end there. He won't be a happy man going into this evening, going back home, but he certainly will have a game plan in his head about what to do from next week onwards. He's never finished lower than 4th in this league with him in charge at the head of Cardiff Met RFC. So he's definitely going to steer the ship in the right direction going forward into next week.
Well, we're going to hear from him shortly. I tell you what, he's still got shorts on. I will go on record as saying Danny Milton has got the best calves in BUCS Super Rugby. Honestly, he looks like he cycles the Tour de France. But now we're going to be hearing from the coach of Cardiff Met, Danny Milton, because he's with Cian Tukey.
So I'm here with Danny Milton, Director of Rugby of Cardiff Met. Really physical game and almost clawed your way back in it at the end. How do you feel the match went?
Yeah, I think you saw in the first half 2 sides were probably lacking a bit of confidence after last week and Exeter losing their first 2 games, and you could see getting over that line, getting that win was what both teams wanted, and it was a scrappy first half where probably we were a bit lucky to get away without Exeter getting the score. And then those early scores from Exeter in the second half really put us under pressure. And yeah, pleased with the effort to get back into the game. But I think certainly for us, it's going to be one in terms of the way we manage the game. Probably one that's got away. And obviously disappointment. But best thing about BUCS Super Rugby is we've got another game next week to try and put it right.
Certainly. And what are those work-ons that you feel like you need to really nail down? Is it again managing the occasion, just like it was last week with the Cardiff clash?
No, I thought it was a bit different this week. I thought the conditions and probably the way the game started probably meant we needed to alter our game plan a little bit quicker than we did, and probably play in better areas of the game of the field in the first half. Which would have probably given us a bit of better foothold, a better dominance. We had a really good scrum, really pleased with some aspects of that, and felt that if we were doing that in the right areas, we probably got a little bit more change out of it.
So do you feel like things are just slowly coming together, but obviously...
No, not yet. I think we've got a lot of work to do, and I think that's the important thing for us to recognise now is these games are tough every week, and we've got to make sure all of us, coaches, players, have a little look at things, make sure we reflect, get better, and go again next week against a tough outfit in Bath.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Danny. So we've heard from the coach, now it's time to hear from the captain, Joe. Hi, Joe. How you doing? You good?
Yeah, not bad.
So, Joe, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about the fight you showed right up until the last minute?
Yeah, I know it's something that we kind of pride ourselves on. It's sort of what's in our DNA. You know, it might not be the best game for the viewers to watch, but certainly for us, we show a lot of heart and until the very end, and you see that out there. And you know, it's what we put into training and what we're all about. You know, we work hard together and we want to win for each other. But obviously today that didn't happen. But you know, we got a lot of positives to take from it, a lot of things to work on as well. So yeah, back to the drawing board tomorrow.
Obviously, one thing that was really strong about your game was the scrum. You as a front row. How pleased are you with the forwards' performance?
Yeah, very pleased. Again, it's one of those things we take pride in. You know, it's a full 8-man effort. So, you know, it might look like it's the front rowers that are putting all the hard yards in, but you know, it's 1 through 8, and then the boys that are coming on off the bench. So, yeah, really pleased with that. But again, like we said, there's a lot of things to work on, and back to it tomorrow.
Bath with the loss today, and obviously you're facing them next week. What are your thoughts ahead of that game?
Yeah, you know, obviously there's no easy game in BUCS, so the way that we prep now won't change at all. You know, back in tomorrow, back in Friday, work hard over the weekend now to recover, get ready to train back again. But you know, we'll do our analysis of tonight, and we'll do our analysis of Bath, I think it is, isn't it, next week. So yeah, we'll just keep working hard, and hopefully we'll get a W on the board next week.
Brilliant stuff. Really well said, Joe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers. So now we've got the head coach of Exeter, Richard Hodges. Richard, how pleased are you with that performance?
Yeah, no, we're really pleased with that. This is a hard place to come. Not many teams get results here. The last team, I think, was Swansea, and Durham obviously got a draw here last year. So to come here and get a result is everything we needed to kickstart our season.
And how much did you need that win? Obviously coming into this game, 2 really tough fixtures but without a win. What does this result do?
I think it gives the boys some confidence. The last 2 fixtures weren't bad fixtures for us. There was some really key points in there, but there was some learns as well. But you know, winning's a habit, and now we've got our first win this season. Hopefully we can go on from there and drive through the next couple of games.
Perfect stuff. And thank you very much for coming to talk to us. Cheers.
Oh, is that it? Perfect. Cheers,
thanks. Mate. So we've got the man of the match here, Josh. Yeah, you are. So well done, Josh. How do you feel the game went?
Yeah, I mean, it was a hard-fought game. You know, it's a really difficult place to come. So that it's taken a lot of pride for us to come here and get the win today. We've had a rocky start to the season, so that's a massive boost of confidence for us, I think.
So obviously you mentioned the rocky start. What's this done amongst the camp, even after the game with the boys and the morale?
Yeah, it's huge. Like I said, this is a really difficult place to come. This is probably up there one of the hardest places to come in the league. So this does everything for confidence. It does everything for momentum going into the next couple of games. If we're really honest with ourselves as well, we probably gave them a lot with our inaccuracies, and that's been the trend in the last couple of games. So you know, there's still a lot to learn from today, but it's a hell of a win and does everything for our confidence.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much for talking.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. So we'll throw back to Dave now up in comms to see us off.
Exeter pick up their first victory of the season. It has come in round 3. Cardiff Met toiled away, but for the second time they have gone to the wire and come up a little bit short. I've no doubt that they'll be back in this long BUCS Super Rugby season where the surprises keep coming every week. But at the moment, is this the first time in the BUCS Super Rugby era where maybe their crown as Kings of Cardiff might be slipping? Tune in next week to find out more. But until then, goodbye.